Welcome into a Week 13 edition of Buffalo Bills Weekly, where we keep you up to speed on everything going on at One Bills Drive. He's Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab. In this week's episode, we'll tackle how the Bills are getting healthier, tell you about what weaknesses exist within the 49ers defense, and more. Bills head coach Sean McDermott is 7-0 coming off of bye weeks. The Bills have a chance to make it 8-0 and pick up their 7th straight win of the season.
Yeah, and they've won those post-bye games under Sean McDermott by an average of more than a touchdown, double digits in 4 of their last 5 post-bye wins. The only one that wasn't last year's win over the Chiefs, 20-17.
Thanks to an impressive victory over the Chiefs in Week 11, the Bills are now 9-2 and have a chance at the number 1 seed. Chris, how do they make this possible?
Well, first of all, they need to keep winning games. That's number 1. And they need the Chiefs to drop a game here to fall into a tie with them. Then they'd have the head-to-head tiebreaker. Almost did it last week. Carolina almost pulled one out, but Chiefs win on a last-second field goal. It's good that Houston has kind of faded out of the race. They've lost 3 of their last 4. And Buffalo got some help from Cleveland last week on Thursday Night Football. They beat Pittsburgh, who was nipping at Buffalo's heels. They're now 8-3 and a game back of Buffalo. So keep on winning and hope you get some help around the league.
Buffalo has scored at least 30 points in 5 straight weeks. They've been earning wins without several key players this season. Life is looking like it's going to get a little easier for this team because they're getting healthier. Starting linebacker Matt Milano, who's missed all season with a torn left bicep, has a chance to play against the 49ers, as well as right tackle Spencer Brown, who missed last week due to an ankle injury. Milano levels up the defense with his ability to drop into coverage and stop the run, and Brown helps anchor that right side of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, Milano, it'll be interesting to see if he does return to the lineup. Do they put him on a pitch count? Because Dorian Williams has been very productive in his absence in his 2nd season. I think we do expect Spencer Brown to be back this week. He just rolled his ankle a couple of weeks ago. The benefit of the bye comes in handy there. And then it'll be interesting to see if they get even another player added to the mix, because Dwayne Carter, defensive tackle, has fulfilled the 4-game absence on injured reserve. Does he come off this week? We'll have to wait and see.
Don't go anywhere, because when we return, we'll tell you how Buffalo can attack a certain weakness within the 49ers defense, and the best sound bites from the week are coming up.
When we return, Maddy Glab interviews Hall of Fame quarterback Steve Young in this week's episode of You Heard, and then later, catch the press conference highlights in Soundbite Roundup.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Steve Young here, and you just heard.
Welcome into You Heard, where we feature the NFL fandom of athletes, celebrities, and influencers. In today's episode, we have Hall of Fame quarterback, 3-time Super Bowl champ, and 2-time NFL MVP Steve Young joining us. Steve played for the 49ers from 1987 to 1999. Steve, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us about the 49ers and this big matchup against the Bills and San Francisco coming up.
Daddy, this is a big deal for me to be on the herd. I mean, that's a big deal. Come on.
Yeah.
We got to make it happen. It's fun to think about. You know, Josh Allen and I have become friends through little golf tournaments, met his family. He's from Fireball, which is not that far from where I'm at. And everyone kind of claims him as a Californian, but now he's like a rugged, Buffalo native, feels like, But there's a lot of connectivity I have with the team and especially with him, and love, and obviously in the old days with Jim Kelly and all the guys and Andre Reed, and just a lot of friends that played for the Bills. So it's fun for me to come and talk about it.
Yes, thank you so much. We hear so many times that, the NFL is such a big world and the sports world is so big, but when you talk about it and when you get into it, there's so many connections that live within the teams. And if you've played in the NFL for even like 5 seasons, the amount of connections that you make from team to team are just incredible. And it's great to hear that you have some great friends that played for Buffalo and have a connection with our quarterback in Josh Allen. But let's start with this matchup. 49ers head into Buffalo to play the Bills in Week 13. What are you looking forward to in seeing on Sunday Night Football?
Well, it's not the matchup I thought I was going to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the 49ers coming off the Super Bowl with the best roster in football, and I think that was unanimous. No one even questioned it. And with some injuries and some things we'll probably get into that have happened, it's just we're limping in and on the ropes in many ways. And clearly we could still win the West and be okay, but we're not acting like a team that can go the distance. And so in some ways, this is like Custer's last stand, right? This week is like if we can go to Buffalo and win this football game, we can right all kinds of wrongs this season and put ourselves in really the driver's seat and start to act like we can maybe go the distance. So this is like you talk about a pivot point in the season. This is it.
It's definitely a must-win game for the 49ers, sitting at 5-6 right now. Is it crazy to think about the team last year compared to this year? A team who made it to the Super Bowl, a team who, like you said, had the best roster in football, headed into this 2024 season looking good too, but injuries have made such a big difference on the type of play that's showed up on the field.
Yeah, but I mean, it's easy to just say, "Oh, injuries," that's it, and it's just not. There's like, Brandon Ayuk was there for the first half of the season. CMC's been here for the last few games. Everybody else has been around. It's not like it's been like devastating. I mean, we've had some injuries, but so has everybody else. And so in that way, there's something else that's happened, and couple of things I would say that probably for fans in Buffalo to think about is um, you talk about Super Bowl hangovers, and obviously, Buffalo knows well about those, and I think that there's something to be said around grinding out and the emotional, and it was a devastating loss to the Chiefs. It was crushing, and the Bay Area had to, kind of get over it, and the players have to get over it. And then you think to yourself, well, what's the big deal? And the 49ers opened the season and it was kind of middling. Like there wasn't that intensity, that wasn't there, that grinding kind of spirit that was just like, oh, like I'll bite you to death if I have to. Like you're going down. And I think that's part of what's happened. And then obviously the injuries, and then also the creep. When I say creep, NFL defenses are predatory. They smell weakness. They smell trouble. They smell and you can't stop it. Like sometimes when I played, I'm like, don't you realize that we can still stretch the field? And they're like, I smell different. I don't think you can. And so in that way, when Brandon Ayuk got hurt, we kind of lost that presence that we could stretch the field so that now the field, like beautiful Brock Purdy he's an amazing player and has some amazing talents. But what he'll tell you is, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the fastest, and I'm not the strongest. And where Josh Allen is the biggest, the fastest, and the strongest. So it's different. But because Brock has to play, the field is more restricted to Brock. And with that in mind, you need things that are going to present that you better be careful. We'll still get you. We'll sneak right by you. And Brandon was that guy. Without that, defenses have kind of continued to kind of compress and say, we don't have to cover the whole field. And so last week, it just felt like, and then the week before, especially in Seattle, you can tell, was funneling everything in the middle of the field. Like you're not going to press us outside. You're not going deep. You can't run the football, and we're just going to grind your guys inside. And nothing was open. And then all of a sudden, balls are being contested that are never contested before. Christian McCaffrey's trying to do his little nifty option route that he's run 1,000 times and has smashed defenses with a simple little route. All of a sudden, hand in, balls up, interception. And so instead of easy completions for a long time, almost every game last year, all of a sudden we're getting intercepted and we're losing. And so the creep is real. And I'm sure the Buffalo Bills defense, they're predatory too. I get it. So they're going to creep, and we've got to figure out a way to expand our game.
We'll be right back on You Heard. Stay tuned. Speaking of Josh Allen, he's a guy who can put the cape on and do just about anything, jump over players, hurdle guys. We saw him against the Chiefs in Week 11 take off on 4th and 2 with the game on the line and score a 26-yard rushing touchdown, which only a few guys can do that in the league today. What amazes you about the way that he plays that position?
First, he's so earnest. What I mean is, I will do anything. And when I say anything, I think he really feels like, and I think the Buffalo Bills inadvertently, not on purpose, maybe subconsciously, over the years have allowed that to be, I'm not going to say abused, but overused. And there's been times in the past years when I thought Josh is so amazing, and he's so amazing because he can put on the Superman cape over and over and over again. And the call for him to do it just seemed like it never ended. And I'm like, and I was comparing to the career arc of Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick did the same thing for a little while. And then Andy got a hold of him, Coach Reed, and said, look, you get exhaust in the pocket. Start to just be a pocket, just be a pocket. I know you can be Superman. I get it. But we got to run some plays out of the huddle that work. And then he gave him the help and the innovation to go do it. And I watched Josh not get the help that I look, we can be specific and if you want to have enough time, but there were just the running game was not the help that Josh needed. The protection at times was not the help. And then the weapons were not, it's like there are guys around. I'm not saying he was left with an empty cabinet. I'm not saying that. But it felt like he was forced into a place where you can't be profitable in the biggest moments, and that is to be a Superman all the time. You need some time where you're now 12 of 14 for 105 yards and 5 different receivers, and they're playing zone. They're not going to let you run by people, and you're just going to you're running the ball for 140 yards a game and 160 yards a game. And then Josh Allen can be the Superman that we really want, which is when it really matters.
Yeah.
Not doing it too much risk. And you've seen the games. Bills fans have seen it. It's like, geez, calm down, Josh. You don't have to do so much. And he's saying to himself, sorry, if we're going to go, this is how it has to happen. And we're all like, it won't work if you have to do it that much, because the NFL just doesn't allow only Superman stuff. You have to do a lot of what I'll call retail work out of the huddle. And that's what's happened this year. It feels like for the first time, this is just me saying, Maddy, you interviewed me, so I get to say what I feel. I feel like things have come together. They've learned as an organization, as an offensive scheme, as a talent pool, and a philosophy. It seems to be coming together where he's not asked to do it as often. And that's why I think they're better.
Get into talk ball with somebody who won a bunch of Super Bowls, led the NFL in so many different statistical categories over the 15 seasons that you played in. It's just awesome to hear about. Thank you so much for the incredible conversation, and let's hope for an awesome game on Sunday Night Football coming up.
I believe it. Whatever we have left, you're going to get on Sunday night. Oh, by the way, Maddy, don't miss the opening on NBC. There's a little surprise from a couple of quarterbacks from the Bills and the 49ers that you don't want to miss. So the opening on NBC for Sunday Night Football, don't miss it. It's pretty good.
Everybody's got to be sitting on their couches.
Yeah, don't be late.
Before kickoff.
My boy Jim Kelly, you got to be on your toes for this one.
We love Jim Kelly. Well, thanks so much, Steve. We appreciate you coming on and talking with us about the 49ers, the team at large, and Josh Allen and what he's done in the NFL, especially this season.
All right, Matt, we always got a spot for you here in Palo Alto, so come on.
Maybe one day I'll come back. I love it there.
Okay, see ya.
When we return, catch the highlights from this week's press conferences in Soundbite Roundup.
We had some time off to just recharge our batteries, and obviously that plays a huge role this late in the season. So yeah, I think it's just more of, guys, detaching for a little bit and hanging with family, friends, and then coming back just with a fresh mind and just ready to go.
I guess to be at the bye week though at 9-2, and obviously feeling confident about what we got going on here and the guys that we have in this locker room, it's a great feeling. I'll take this bye week compared to last year's bye week, I'll tell you that. But again, we're not into the playoffs yet. The job's not finished. And we're just trying to find a way to go 1-0 this week.
I love where we're at, but at the same time, we just got to make sure that we keep that same fire and not get complacent and just continue to play our best ball moving forward. So even though we have, I believe, a good record, we still have things we have to clean up and things we got to get better at.
I think Coach McDermott does a great job of making sure that, when we get back, we're not necessarily picking up where we left off. It's more about like let's get back to what we did preseason, what we did in training camp, get back to the basics, focus on fundamentals, and just again playing situational football and doing simple better. And I think that's something that he's been preaching to us. And again, the guys in this locker room have taken that in stride over the last 7 or 8 years, whatever, however long he's been here. And again, it comes down to the guys on the field playing, but good leadership will do that.
We just do our best to what is given to us, you know what I'm saying? So they have a system that they like to run, and I feel like the coaches do a good job in helping us with that and helping us understand it. And I feel like they're still going to run that system regardless of who plays.
Yeah, like I said, there's fast physical. They play sound ball. They do their jobs, do what they're supposed to do, and they play really well together as a defense. So definitely got to make sure that we're on our P's and Q's and on the details within every single play to make it work.
Yeah, I think, again, just trusting the leadership in what Coach McDermott's telling us, relying on the guys in this locker room. Still have a lot of veteran leaders in this locker room that lead by example and do things the right way. And I've said this for as long as I've been in the league, and I'll say it for as long as I'm in the league, is I don't care what the stats look like as long as the win columns are far greater than the loss column, and that's all we're trying to focus on.
Welcome back into Buffalo Bills Weekly. The Bills are hosting the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. San Francisco quarterback Brock Purdy didn't start last week against the Packers due to a right shoulder injury. Head coach Kyle Shanahan is hopeful Purdy will be able to go against Buffalo. Quarterback Brandon Allen started in Purdy's place in Week 12. The team lost 38-10. Allen had 2 turnovers and completed less than 60% of his passes. Shanahan is known for a plug-and-play system. Regardless if Purdy can't or can go against Buffalo, the offense shouldn't change much.
Shouldn't change much, but the effectiveness of the offense is the big question, and we saw that last week against Green Bay. And to be fair, too, they've had players in and out of the lineup. They were without their all-pro left tackle, Trent Williams. Pass protection was definitely an issue in that game. But really, what Allen's presence in the lineup does is it afforded Green Bay the opportunity to focus all of their attention on Christian McCaffrey. And once they neutralized him, the game is completely on Allen's shoulders. He proved last week anyway he was not capable of carrying the offense on point-producing drives, and that's why you had the lopsided score. If he has to play again this week, he should expect a similar approach from Buffalo. Prove to us you can lift that offense and carry it if we neutralize McCaffrey. That's his challenge.
This is a top 10 offense that is with Brock Purdy in the lineup, but even with Purdy in the lineup, they've been struggling in the red zone and have a lot of turnovers so far this season. San Francisco's defense is a top 10 unit. They're allowing just over 300 total yards per game and an 81 passer rating. Both rank top 10. While they're at the top of the league in some areas, they're struggling in others. This is a defense who's surrendering leads and in the red zone, allowing an average of 5.5 points per red zone drive. That's third worst in the NFL. Chris, how can this offense capitalize off of that?
Yeah, Buffalo's got to control the tempo of the game, similar to the way they did against Kansas City when they had 34 minutes time of possession, wear down that San Francisco defense with a steady diet of the run game, mix in some play action pass, and if you do that, you should have time of possession edge. You know that this San Francisco defense is shorthanded personnel-wise. They will wear down. They'll give up points. Fourth quarter leads are an issue for them if they have it. They've given it up. They have the same problem as Baltimore's defense, giving up major points in the fourth quarter. They're 28th in the league in fourth quarter points allowed. They've given up over 100 this season now after the Green Bay game. I don't know if it's getting any better for them anytime soon.
When Buffalo faced Kansas City a couple weeks ago, Kansas City's offense was at the top of the league in time of possession. The 49ers offense is also top 10 in time of possession. Buffalo's defense did a great job of getting takeaways to give the ball back to Buffalo's offense. They end up finishing way better than Kansas City in time of possession. Maybe that's just what needs to happen against the 49ers for the Bills to control the narrative in this game.
Yeah, and red zone I think is going to be a big factor here too. San Francisco struggles in the red zone on both sides of the ball. The Bills have been a top 10 unit Defensively, they've been just above middle of the pack. Offensively, if those two trends continue, Buffalo should end up with more points on the board than San Fran.
The 49ers are in must-win now mode. They're 5-6, last in the NFC West. This is a team who went to the Super Bowl last year, and right now their postseason wishes are on the line. The 49ers might come into Buffalo ready to pull out all the stops.
Yeah, I think they should. The Bills should expect a desperate San Francisco team, no question about it. We even saw some trick plays in last week's game against Green Bay with a double flicker option pass. You got to be ready for all of that, not only on offense, but on special teams too when you kick the ball to them.
You can catch the game this Sunday, December 1st on NBC, Universo, and Telextos. Chris will be on the radio with the call, so to hear him and Bills legend Eric Wood, you can listen to WGR 550. Week 13 marks Buffalo's final primetime game of the regular season. Their last 5 will come in the 4 o'clock or 1 o'clock window. We want to thank you for tuning into Buffalo Bills Weekly. For Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab. We'll see you next week.